Hello, I'm Jonasz Rewiński and this is Military Mind. Armed conflicts, defense and security, land, sea and air. We've got you covered. Russia launched nearly 300 drones and a missile against Ukraine overnight, according to Ukrainian authorities. Officials reported widespread damage to civilian infrastructure across multiple regions. Among the areas hit was the Kherson region, where a 12-year-old boy was wounded after a Russian drone struck a residential building. He was taken to a hospital for treatment. In the Kiev region, a worker was wounded during a Russian attack on an industrial facility in Boryspil. Further east, in Pavlohrad, in the Dnipro region, fires broke out across two apartments of a residential building following a drone strike. 2 people sustained wounds as a result of that. Meanwhile, in Russia, authorities reported casualties following Ukrainian strikes on occupied Crimea. In Simferopol, 3 people were reportedly killed and several others wounded after attacks targeting non-residential facilities. Another person was killed and 3 wounded when a drone reportedly struck a commuter train traveling from Azovsky to Kherson. Now, often these reports from the Russian authorities do require further investigation. Sometimes they may be used for propaganda purposes. Now, moving on to the front line. Analysts say Russia is once again attempting to encircle Liman, using a strategy similar to the one employed in 2022. At the time, Russian forces sought to create a broad encirclement stretching from the area around Liman to Izium. The operation ultimately failed when Ukrainian forces recaptured both cities during their counteroffensive in the autumn of 2022. Military observers note that the current frontline configuration is considerably less favorable for Russian forces than it was 4 years ago. Efforts to surround Liman and advance towards Sloviansk have so far failed to produce any meaningful results. According to analysts, Russian commanders continue to pursue objectives that appear increasingly difficult to achieve, given the army's current capabilities. Moving on now to the Middle East. Israel and Lebanon have reached a ceasefire agreement through U.S. mediation, according to the U.S. State Department. The deal follows a 3-way negotiation held on the 2nd and the 3rd of June. Under the agreement, the Iran-backed Hezbollah insurgency group is expected to cease military activity and withdraw from southern Lebanon up to the Litani River. The joint statement issued after the talks emphasized that future relations between Israel and Lebanon should be determined by the 2 countries' sovereign governments. Now, despite the agreement, tensions remain high. The Israeli military announced that it had killed 2 armed individuals near the Beaufort Ridge area in southern Lebanon during a combined air and ground operation. The ridge, located near Arnon, overlooks both the Israeli border and the Litani River Valley and has long been regarded as a strategically important position. Israeli officials also warned that any future attacks by Hezbollah could trigger strikes on Beirut. Separately, several people were wounded amid an Israeli drone strike on a vehicle traveling along the Zefta Kfarwa road in southern Lebanon. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz stated that the ceasefire gives Israel the freedom to strike targets in Beirut if Hezbollah launches attacks against Israeli communities. We'll see a Ukrainian F16 fighter jet intercepting a Russian Kh-101 cruise missile, a type of missile that has often been deployed by Russian forces in many of their operations, including against civilian targets. Now, the footage shows one of the most important roles being performed by Western-supplied aircraft in Ukrainian service, hunting down Russian long-range missiles before they reach Ukrainian cities and infrastructure. The missile is not supersonic, but it is difficult to intercept because it can fly at low altitudes, follow complex routes, and approach targets from unexpected directions. Until now, Ukraine has often had to use extremely valuable air defense missiles, including Patriot interceptors, against Russian cruise and ballistic missile attacks. Now, this spectacular interception shows that Western aircraft are more than just a gesture of symbolic support. They are in fact saving lives, which raises an uncomfortable question for Moscow. If Ukraine can do this with the F-16s that it has now, what happens when more Western jets arrive, including additional F-16s French Mirage fighters and potentially Swedish Gripens. A Ukrainian FP2 suicide drone reportedly struck the Russian Baltic Fleet corvette Boyki while the vessel was undergoing scheduled repairs in Kronstadt near St. Petersburg. If confirmed, the strike would mean that Russia did not get to enjoy its corvette for very long. The Boyki was supposed to be a modern asset, a part of the Baltic Fleet. Instead, while sitting for repair near St. Petersburg, it appears to have become another very expensive advertisement for Ukrainian drone warfare. And this is not happening in isolation. Russia's once feared Black Sea Fleet has been badly mauled by Ukrainian attacks. Now, the Baltic Sea Fleet is, thanks to, in large part, to Ukraine's fighting spirit and technological innovations, significantly shrinking in size. And now let's take a look at the very same attack, but from footage filmed by locals who probably did not expect the special military operation to come to their backyard. Now, these are not symbolic targets either. They are the machinery behind Russia's war effort. And every strike, like this one, sends the same message. And finally, it's time for a Military Mind classic, the handiwork of Ukrainian drone operators with very sharp eyes and skills honed in combat. This is a combination that spells very bad news for Russia's troops on the ground. Let's take a look at how Ukraine's 34th Separate Marine Brigade is eliminating Russian units on the occupied Kherson region's coasts. And that's all for now here on Military Mind. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news, updates and commentary.